And welcome back to yet another Buffalo Bills pregame, the first ever pregame for a 17th game of the season. We're so glad that we're back for the Bills playing the Jets, and out of an abundance of caution for COVID-19 protocols, Buffalo Bills pregame decided to go back virtual. We're back, baby. Zoom. I didn't even remember the name of it, the app this morning. That's how far removed from quarantine I've been. So, Dan, so glad to have you. How you doing, bud?
Not too bad. I can't complain.
Can't complain. Bills have clinched a playoff berth. We control our destiny as far as the division's concerned. Going in to play the Jets, we have the division in our hand with a win. I don't know, knee-jerk reaction at the beginning of the season. Would you have taken that outcome?
Yeah, I would say so. There's a lot of ups and downs in an NFL season. I think the beginning of the season after the Bills had beaten the Chiefs, we all thought, okay, that we're obviously going to the Super Bowl. There was a few week stretch or about a month stretch where we all thought, who knows what would happen. We might not win the division or maybe even make the playoffs. And now I think we're kind of circling back to how we originally felt in the beginning of the season. The team's not perfect, but they definitely have the pieces in place to make a run in the playoffs.
I, as a fandom, are very good as front runners. I think in general the Bills are better as kind of like the underdogs, come from behind. So I didn't foresee a situation where the team jumped out to first place early in the season and stayed there, wire to wire. So I think it's probably for the best that we had a dip mid-season and we're peaking at the right time to allow sports cliche. So I think if you look at the trajectory of the team or the performance coming down the end of the season, I think we're poised well for some playoff success. So very excited for the next few weeks to come. But let's not get ahead of the Jets. We do have a game coming up this week, but there are some people who think that this should be a Trubisky game. Maybe the top thing to do going into the playoffs is to give Allen some rest. So do you think this is a game where should we be focusing on players not getting hurt, or do you want to see the starters for the whole game?
So I definitely don't think the Bills are in a position to be benching their starters, especially considering Josh Allen and how big of a part of the offense he is. I mean, he's basically he's the biggest playmaker, and he's doing almost everything out there. He's running, he's passing. So I definitely think at quarterback, you definitely need to start Josh Allen. Other players, I think you need to have everyone out there. This isn't like, a game where they've already won the division and they're playing for seeding. I mean, they still haven't won the division yet, so 100% they need to have all their guys out there.
Switching over to the other side of the ball, with the first game, we played Mike White as the starter for the Jets. Threw very well to the Bills with 4 interceptions. Mid-race here in the season, the Jets have decided to change things up and go with their draft pick from last year, Zack Wilson. Dan, do you see that either starting quarterback being a difference maker for the outcome of this game?
So I definitely think Zack Wilson has more talent than Mike White. He's a better thrower, and he also presents a certain aspect of running the ball as well. I think at the time, Mike White was more of an unknown. I believe he had played one game before he played the Bills, where he threw for 400 yards. And then the next game he played, I believe he got injured. So the game against the Bills, I think you didn't know what you were getting, but I think following that game, following the next couple games, you definitely found out what you had in Mike White. Zack Wilson is definitely more talented. With that being said, I don't think Zack Wilson is a player that the Bills need to be afraid of. I would say he's, in my opinion, better than Mac Jones, but he's no Patrick Mahomes. I think the Bills and how talented their defense is, they should be able to keep Zack Wilson contained.
Excellent. Well, without trying too hard to look past the Jets this week, there are a number of outcomes in terms of teams that we might be playing home or away, depending on if we win or lose this game for our first playoff matchup in the wild card this season. In a fantasy land, let's forget about probability. Who would you like to play against in the first round of the playoffs?
So out of all the teams the Bills might play, I think I would like to see them play a team like the Chargers, or I know they're probably not going to end up playing the Bengals, but I think the Bills are they're a lot better built to beat a team like the Chargers or a team like the Chiefs or the Bengals, a team who seems to pass the ball a lot and score a lot of points. I think the Bills can match that. They can pass the ball just as well as those teams, in my opinion. A couple teams I wouldn't want to see them play, and it seems like it's seeming more likely that they're going to play one of these two teams, but the Colts and the Patriots, because I think they're much more built, they're much more physical, they run the ball, and we've seen throughout this season that that's kind of the Bills' weakness right now. So I think, and we saw how the Colts ran on the Bills, we saw how New England ran on the Bills. So I think those are teams you would want to stay away from.
Yeah, I think the teams that we pressing ones that you would not want to face, New England, Tennessee, and Indianapolis, as you mentioned. But New England, after last week's game, I have trouble fearing them, I think, after the last time we played against them. So, I don't know, bring on New England. I wouldn't mind watching Belichick lose in our hand. That might be very satisfying. But do you have a pick for this game? You think the Bills are going to pull this one off against the Jets, Dan?
Yeah, I think so. If I'm going to pick a score, I'm going to say the Bills are going to have a very good offensive game, and I'm going to say it's going to be 31-13 Bills. I think the Bills are hitting their spot right at the perfect time. So I'm going to go with a blowout in this one. I'm going to say 31-13 Bills.
You got them covering this one. Good for you, Dan. Well, I was going to choose a very similar score, so I'm going to tighten up a little bit. I say the Bills' defense allows a few more points, and we'll call it 20-33. Still not a tight game, but the Jets decide to show up. So either way, we will be back next week for yet another Buffalo Bills pregame. With any luck, we'll be doing so in person for the Bills' wild card game, and we'll talk about the matchup then. And until then. Don't panic.
Okay. Dan, no.